Okay, so I'm so happy to be interviewing you right now. We are recording and I'm super pumped. So I have Ashley Rosa here with me. She's so beautiful. Absolutely, I'm so in love with her. I've known her from back in Care, and this is a true, awesome moment to be sitting here interviewing her. So we are going to be going over dating mindset, preparation to finding true love, and I have some awesome questions. So the first one, go back to where you were single and let me know. This is the first one. Like, what and where was your state of mind when you were single? You were a single mom, I believe, right?
Right, right. So let's take it back. I was newly divorced. I got married really young. I had my child at 21. So for me, my whole plan wasn't to be a mom. I felt like that was young as itself. You know what I'm saying? I was the last one out of all my friends to have a child.
Wow.
Um, my original plan was to get married. I knew I always wanted to be a wife. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Like I was not somebody's girlfriend. I was meant to be a wife, you know? Um, and I did. I got married early and I ended up having my daughter at 21. My original plan was to wait until my 30s. I
Yeah.
wanted to travel. I wanted to, you know what I'm saying? And that's just kind of life. Life kind
Mm-hmm.
of, you tell it its plans and it's like, okay.
Right.
So I was married for a short time. That didn't work out. Um, Him and we co-parent very, very well. So I'm very thankful for that because I know that could be really hard, and sometimes that doesn't happen. But my daughter's dad and we get along great. We just weren't a connection. So at that point, to be honest, I wasn't thinking about dating because
Mm-hmm.
dating's not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I could be honest. So especially when I first, right before I met my now husband, I
Mm-hmm.
was, a single mom. So I was busy. I was working multiple jobs, and you and we've talked about this before. I was selling furniture to pay rent. I had just
Mm-hmm.
started my business with then Advocare. And
Mm-hmm.
again, life was just happening, and I still felt like I hadn't seen enough. So I really wasn't focused on dating.
Mm-hmm.
So that's basically where I was at, booked and busy.
So you were busy, you were co-parenting. Now, at that time, how was your emotions? Were you humble at where you were at? You were co-parenting? Were you depressed? Were you just, like I said, you said that you didn't want to date. So were you just
Right.
happily single? Were you
Yeah,
happy?
well, I was thankful. I was thankful, but when you're a mom, you don't really have a lot of time, or in the beginning, so you think you don't make a lot of time to kind of sit and be with your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, especially at that point, I was thinking of paying my bills,
Mm-hmm.
uh, also on my own health journey, that I was looking in reference, I was looking for a community as far as friends. You know what I'm saying? So I was also young. So I was finding myself. I emotionally, I can't express where I was at. I was just focused on me, you
Okay.
know. That especially now looking back, and when I see girls in their 20s and stuff and they're coming up, and that's my biggest tip. Focus on you. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Like I wanted to be a wife, but I wasn't focused on that. I was focusing on paying my bills,
Yes.
being a mom, navigating through that life, um, working out. I was also transitioning at that point to being vegetarian.
Okay.
So that was also another thing. So I was literally just, what can I
Focus
do
on
to be,
you.
yes, what can I do to better myself? What can I do to stay busy? What's the next thing that I need to have my hands on? That's where I was at.
Right. That's awesome. Now okay, so you did answer the second one because I was going to say, were you actively searching, but you weren't because you were focused on yourself. You were focused on being a better mom, focused on your health, being a vegetarian. So now that brings
Right.
me to, what were your goals at that time? And did you meet them, or were you like halfway there? Like, was it weight loss goals? And was it also the vegetarian? I guess, how were your eating habits? What were your
Yeah.
goals at that time, or your financial goals at that time?
So at that point, it really was just making it. You know, I was learning about how to build wealth, and I was learning about how to pay off debt and things like that, because I wasn't raised that way. I also grew up in a divorced household. I was raised by a single mom, you know what I'm saying? So the only knowledge that I knew as far as financial goals was, if you weren't able to make your bills by the end of the month, you got another job to make it happen, because there needs to be food on the table. You need to keep your lights on. You know what I'm saying? You got to have gas in your car. So my then job, before I left it to work from home and stuff like that, I was a paraprofessional, and I worked with special education high schoolers.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like in the life skills department, and that was such an amazing opportunity, but it was not covering it as far as my rent. It barely paid my rent. You got paid once a month, you know? So that's where I connected the health journey, because again, you know, I do not like being on a diet. I did not want to starve myself. So the way I connected making money was becoming a fitness instructor.
Okay.
It was kind of like killing two birds.
That's where you became a fitness instructor. Okay.
That is exactly what happened. I needed to pay bills, and I figured, because I didn't have time to work out, and I am nothing like what I was. I would not be in the gym lifting weights and things like that. I was into Zumba and things like, you know, like dancing. And how can I stay away from people that look like my husband? You know, I didn't need you to tell me that I needed to lose weight. You know, I didn't need you to tell me that I needed to, you know, get healthy and stuff. I already knew it.
Mm-hmm.
So I became a fitness instructor, because I figured if I had to go, I was going to get paid to work out. And that's where my fitness journey completely, as far as being paid, that's where that took off, because it brought out such a different side to me. And I was so thankful for it. Mm-hmm. So those were my goals. I wanted to pay my bills. I wanted to be that fitness instructor that, like, when I told you what I taught, you were like, when is your class?
Right.
So those goals were very much about me and how I provide for my home and my daughter.
So was that the time, God, I heard you say husband, was that the time where you met Rosa? Was it in the midst of you finding, you know, in your fitness journey, doing fitness classes and Zumba? Is that where you met him? Because people were starting to compare, you know, you said you.
It had been a couple years. But yeah, it had been a couple years walking in. I actually met my now husband. He was teaching boot camp. He was the #1 trainer here in San Antonio. And he showed up at a girlfriend's boot camp of mine. Now, again, you wouldn't find me in the gyms, but I knew Zumba instructors that taught boot camp. I knew Zumba instructors that taught yoga. I was a Zumba instructor who then started teaching extreme boxing. So we had all different avenues. You see where like, I tell people, build your community when it comes to fitness, because then you'll never be lost. You know? So I met a mutual friend of mine. She invited me out to her boot camp. I was like, I'm not about this. If it's not Zumba and not me shaking somewhere, I just don't know. I couldn't do push-ups. And that's where I met him. So it had been a little while. I had gotten my feet wet as far as being an instructor.
Right.
But that boot camp completely took me out. So, and I couldn't stand him our first encounter.
Yeah. So I like that part. I like that you said, okay, so when you guys met, now that brings me perfectly to the next one. So when you first laid eyes on your now husband, did you know he was the one, or you just said like, oh, you couldn't stand him? Was it because of the classes he taught that you couldn't stand him, or were you not attracted to him? You're like, oh, he's not my type. Like, what was it when you first laid eyes on him?
So here's the thing about my husband. He's very good looking. And the day before, again, we all kind of knew each other in the different classes and the camps or whatnot. So I knew a couple of the girls that were going to camp, and I'd seen the flyers. Everybody was just so excited, because they were just like, ooh, Leon Rosa, he's so fine. Lee's so, like, everything, right? I am not attracted to that. And in fact,
me neither.
I'm not. That is not my thing. Like, if y'all are gawking, like that automatically, I don't know what it is, but it just shuts me off.
I'm the same way.
No, I'm good. And the morning that I showed up for camp, I am somebody who is like 10 minutes early everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm about being punctual. So I showed up early before everybody, and I'm sitting in the parking lot, and I see this huge man. I hadn't seen him. Huge man just lapping, making laps around the camp.
Okay.
That was at a park. And I was scared because, again, I teach Zumba. I wasn't doing push-ups. I wasn't doing squats. I was teaching cumbia and salsa, you know? Right. So, yeah. And I'll tell you, he knew about me. He knew I was an instructor. So within the first 5 minutes of our warm-up, I'm holding my plank and I'm already drenched in sweat. It's hot here in Texas, but the girl was dying, right? And I had a couple of my coworkers and a couple of my friends with me in a corner, right, on the court. And he walks up to me and he's got these dark glasses on, and he's just like, "Don't you teach Zumba? You can't even get through my warm-up. What's going on here?"
What?
Girl, I was like, I was like, "Sir, with all due respect, if I don't see you down here doing these push-ups, I'm gonna need you to go walk over there." Again, I'm dying and I'm in my plank, but I was just like, "No, we are not doing
this." So he was kind of messing with you. Was it flirtatious, or did you think like, who do you think you are? Like,
That's the option. I choose violence. So, so afterwards, my girlfriends and I went to dinner, and I was like, "Look, I have people," and again, this was like my first couple of weeks as far as the business side of that dynamic here, right? And I was like, "I have girlfriends who are buying product from me. I cannot have nobody talking to me. Like, who does he think he is? And I was like, do not bring him back to that camp. It is bad for business, blah, this, blah, that. Just shutting him off, just being rude. And then a couple weeks later, I got a message and was like, "Hey, I need somebody to come guest teach at my camp." He taught camps all through San Antonio. Again, everybody knew him, and he was like, "I heard you teach extreme boxing. I'm not in the Zumba, but you can come out and show me what your boxing's about, right?" Yeah. So I came, and again, I wasn't strong, but I had endurance. Okay. So I can show you a couple things,
the Zumba
and he ended up loving it. Yeah. He ended up loving it. I had a blast. We became friends after that. And then I realized that that was just all an exterior, and he really he was a great guy. He just has this, I don't know how to explain it, just this aura about him, this energy. It's energy. It's real intense, and it's real strong.
When it comes to his classes, it's real intense. Okay.
Right. And for somebody like me, I'm sweet and I'm bubbly and I'm like, "Hey y'all, like, let's hang out." You know what I'm saying? Like, and we were two different energies.
Yeah.
So, like I said, when I got to know him, it just, from there on, let's see, it's been about 7 years now. We've been married for 4 and together for 7. So It's been a blessing. It seems like just yesterday that I met him, but I'm so thankful for what we've been able to achieve together. I'm thankful for how we've been able to connect. And I'm so thankful that we've just been able to build a life together. It's something to be proud of,
I love that. I love that about you guys. Strong couple. So also that brings me to like, when you, probably before you met him, you were teaching your classes, your fitness classes, and doing your boxing and training for that. Were you ever praying for a husband? I know you weren't looking for one, but were you like, bless me to get be attractive to someone where we're both like-minded? And
was I giving Sierra prayers?
So, were you like asking him to come on, or it just happened at that moment? He, you went to his boot camp and then he invited you to teach, and then it just went on from there with the friendship.
I wasn't praying for anybody, and that's just honestly where I was at. I didn't believe in praying. You know what I'm saying? I do believe that what you pray for, and if you manifest it, and if you're clear with what you want, you are capable of having it and then some. You know what I'm saying? But I just think when it came to my relationship with God, I wasn't praying for a husband. I wasn't praying for a man. I was praying for things for my life so that I had abundance, so that I had peace. I had a lot of healing that I needed to do that I'm still doing now from when I was a child. Again, my parents were divorced, and I don't tell a lot of people this, but I grew up in a really abusive household. And seeing my mom just be so strong, that resonated with me. And when I walked out of my divorce again, because I got married young and then I got divorced young, I was just like, I want to focus on how to fully be in love with my life. And if I could give people advice on that, fall in love with your life and fall in love with becoming the best version of yourself. Because not only will the right person see that, they're going to compliment it. I wasn't looking for somebody to complete me. I was looking for somebody to complement the life that I was already building. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Girl, I'm over here making sure I got your quotes, okay?
Well, good.
Okay, so we got some Ashley Rosa quotes here. So that brings me to, this is about like the last bit of it, but it's a nice big chunk of it because this is like, it's probably very intimate. I want to know, did anything change after your marriage? Like, did your goals change? Did his goals change? Did you guys have to really compromise on something extremely difficult? And anything, the housing, like what was like a major change? Any downfalls, any upfall, anything going up or down, like, after you two got married?
Of course. I mean, you have to remember it was my daughter, and then he also has two. He also has two children. He has a son and a daughter too. And so their ages now are 15, 11, and 9. Okay. So you can do the math as far as like all of that. When we decided to come together and connect as one, it was no longer just us. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, we're in 2021. Chances are, if you have a child and you're a single parent and you meet somebody, chances are they're going to have a child too. You know what I'm saying? So when we decided to become one, I still had my goals and he has his goals, but we have goals together now that we're pursuing. You know what I'm saying? Beyond, not only we work our business together, and again, when we left Avocare, we had already been building Iron Asylum Athletics. So that's what we still do, so we have business goals together. We have financial goals. But there are still things separately because, again, it's about having two complete people come together as one, and sharing a life together, but making sure that you have the things that you're wanting to work on separately. You know what I'm saying? So again, that we're complementing each other. It didn't change, but I don't think people talk enough about how much work marriage is. Marriage is a decision. You know what I'm saying? The life that we're living right now, like I didn't want to be single back then. I would have cats right now. If I was single, I would be
you did not say cats.
Yes. And I love cats and I had one, I've always had cats.
I thought you were just making, I said, no cats.
but and so that's why, people, but they don't talk enough about how much work marriage is, but it's the best kind of work that you can do with your partner. If you decide to live, because I believe in having your soulmate, and I believe in partnership, life partners. Yeah, but it is work because I'm not the same person that he met. I've elevated since then.
Yes, and that's
like they always talk about how people change.
Yeah.
Right. They always talk about how people change. For me, I was elevated. He has elevated from the person that he was. Good. So it's about growing. And again, we're best friends.
And you know what I'm saying? Feed off of each other and elevate each other.
Yeah. Okay. Very much. You have to. Like, you can't just be growing in life and then have your partner sitting there stagnant.
Some of them literally will go down while the other one is rising. And sometimes the one that's rising will help that one come up, but sometimes this one just want to stay down, at the bottom.
Yeah.
So, wow.
We were very much about how do we grow together? How do we keep elevating? Like, he's very attentive as far as what I need, my needs, my wants. And that's just not a physical thing, an emotional thing that goes beyond it, where what my needs and wants are spiritually, what I'm looking for in life, what I'm looking to accomplish. And it's the same thing for him. Like that's my half. You know what I'm saying? That's my half to our whole that we've created. So I am no good without
You guys
him,
are
and vice
actually
versa.
soulmates.
Yes. Yeah. And again, we don't know how life is, but I know and he knows we're going to do everything that we see fit to make this work.
Yes.
And I don't think people talk about that enough. And I don't think people stress that enough, how important that is, because it will not always feel like butterflies. It will not always, I mean, I know I get on his nerves, and that man can make my blood boil. However, in comma, it's just choosing to show up for your marriage. And that's what we do. And we continue to do it because thankfully he was able to have parents that have been together for years. And it's just such a beautiful thing to see. I love his parents so much. They're just such beautiful people. But again,
you didn't
I
have
haven't
that,
seen,
right?
you know what I'm saying? But I believe in it. So it doesn't matter what my past looked like. It's where I'm headed.
Where your mindset was. Yeah.
Right. And I choose him every day, and I plan on choosing him every day for the rest of my life.
Yes, that is, when you guys renew your vows, you have to say that and use those beautiful quotes. I love it. Oh my gosh. This was awesome. You hit I have like pages of notes. You hit every single question like on point with so much detail and so much emotion behind everything that you said. Like this was perfect. So, oh wow. I'm taken back. I didn't expect you to have so much, emotion behind, from where you started to meeting him. And then even now you two are still growing together. So that gives a lot of singles out there hope. And that's what we all need. So
I like I said, fall in love with your life. Fall in love with the best version of yourself before you can want to be a wife or a husband or a life partner, whatever you want to call it, but fall in love with your life. And I am passionate about my life because I have worked so hard to become this person. I have gone through and I've grown through so much to be this person. And I truly and 1,000,000% believe that I deserve all of the blessings that have come into my life, because not only very much so, and you have to have that discernment about yourself, and you have to have that no quit attitude about your life. And so I hope that when I do speak, that people hear my heart and they hear my emotion and they do hear the passion, because I want everybody to feel this, to feel what this feels like, So I want that for you, and I want that for absolutely anybody and everybody that listens to your stuff.
What you said, I mean, just quoting back what you said, that you, of course, you're a praying woman, but you did not pray specifically for a husband. You prayed for abundance. So I love that you said that, so that way women out here, we, if they need help building their self-esteem, pray for abundance, not praying to look cute. Pray for that. So, so I love that.
I mean, you can pray to look cute, and you can pray for what you want in your life. Exactly. Pray for whatever it is that you want in your life, but make sure that it's going to elevate you, because we only have one life to live. And for me, I want to look back when I'm like in my hundreds and they're shouting me out on the news in the morning because I turned 101 and I'm doing jumping jacks and my skin is glowing and I'm popping to, right? But I want to be able to look back and be like, this was my life, and it was amazing. I just want to be able to give people
lived hope. It out, right? You weren't fearful at all. So that's awesome.
That's right.
No fear left behind. So, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Ashley.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me and just taking the time to want to chat with me. I pray for nothing but blessings on your podcast, your YouTube, everything that you're doing. I pray that you just touch people the way that I already know you are, but I want you to continue doing that. I think you're wonderful.
Yeah, this was awesome.